The moment the door clicked shut, she noticed him. A man no one dares to name, standing in her restaurant like he owned it.
Calm. Deadly.
Watching. He slid an envelope across the counter. Heavy. Intentional. "This makes people like you disappear," he said. She didn't flinch. She pushed it back. "I don't want your money. I want you gone." He stepped closer. The air thickened. Every instinct screamed she should run, but she didn't. Because she knew something he didn't. She could see the hesitation behind his eyes. The first crack in a man who commands an empire through fear. For weeks, she'd been careful. Quiet. Invisible. Counting tips. Wiping tables. Staying alive. And there he was, powerful, untouchable, thinking he could buy her silence. She didn't move. She didn't beg. She didn't scream. "If you're going to follow me tonight," she said, steady as a blade, "at least be honest about why." He froze. Just like that, the hunter became the man who couldn't look away. She leaned back, stacked the last plate, and let him sit. Because in a world built on danger and deception, the only rule that matters is this: never flinch. And that's when everything changed. She refused the most dangerous man in the city. Now watch what happens when he can't let her go. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead as Lucy James wiped down the last table, her movements efficient and automatic. 3 a.m. shifts at Chen's diner paid the bills, barely, but tips were decent when the late-night crowd rolled through. She counted the crumpled bills twice, muscle memory from years of making every dollar stretch. The bell above the door chimed. Lucy glanced up, her hands stilling on the damp cloth. The man who entered didn't belong here. His tailored suit probably cost more than her monthly rent, and the two men flanking him in the doorway radiated the kind of danger that made smart people look away. But Lucy had stopped being smart a long time ago. He approached the counter with measured steps, placing a thick manila envelope between them. "Miss James." His accent carried the weight of old money and older power. "You overheard something tonight. Booth 7. Lucy's expression didn't change. She'd learned long ago that reactions were currency, spend them wisely or not at all. "I serve food. I don't listen to conversations." Admirable. His smile didn't reach his eyes. "But we both know that's not entirely true. This," he tapped the envelope, "is for your discretion. And your safety." She pushed it back across the counter, the plastic surface squeaking softly. "Keep your money." The man, Seok Hoon, she'd heard Booth 7 call him, studied her face. Most people crumbled under his gaze. Most people understood who he was, what he represented. But Lucy James met his eyes with something he hadn't expected. Not fear. Not greed. Defiance. Pure, unshakable defiance that spoke of battles already fought and survived. "Interesting," he murmured, pocketing the envelope. He turned toward the door, then paused. "Jean Woo. I want everything on her. Employment history, family, associates, everything." The man to his left nodded once. As the door closed behind them, Lucy returned to wiping tables. Her hands were steady, her breathing controlled. But deep in her chest, her heart hammered against her ribs like a trapped bird remembering its cage. Jean Woo's report landed on Seok Hoon's desk at dawn. He read it twice, frowning. Lucy James, 32. Single mother. 1 daughter, Emma, age 9. No criminal record. No outstanding debts beyond standard credit cards. She'd worked at Chen's diner for 3 years. Reliable, punctual, unremarkable. Before that, a blur of service jobs across the city. No social media presence. No apparent vices. "Too clean," Seok Hoon muttered. He studied the surveillance photos. Lucy's apartment building sagged against its neighbors in Riverside, paint peeling, security non-existent. But the photos from inside, captured through a telephoto lens, showed something unexpected. Books lined makeshift shelves. The small space was organized with military precision. Emma sat at a desk doing homework while Lucy prepared dinner, both moving through routines that spoke of discipline, not desperation. The video footage was more revealing. A drunk had stumbled toward Lucy 2 nights ago outside the diner. She'd assessed, pivoted, and neutralized the threat in 3 seconds flat, controlling his momentum, redirecting his weight, leaving him sitting confused on the pavement while she walked away. No panic. No hesitation. Seok Hoon rewound it again. The movements weren't self-defense class basics. They carried the economy of motion that came from real training, real experience. Her eyes had tracked the environment, exits, witnesses, secondary threats, before the drunk had even finished his approach. "Who are you, Lucy James?" He pulled up her employment history again. The gaps caught his attention now. 3 months here. 5 months there. Never anywhere long enough to build connections. Never anywhere prominent enough to draw notice. Someone running. Someone hiding. His phone buzzed. Jin-woo's message was simple. "You need to see this." The attached video showed Lucy leaving her shift last night. She'd paused at the alley entrance, tilted her head slightly, listening, then altered her route home, avoiding 3 of Seok Hoon's men positioned along her usual path. She'd spotted train surveillance without even looking. Seok Hoon's assumptions crumbled like paper in fire. Seok Hoon dismissed Jin-woo for the evening. This required a personal touch. He followed Lucy from the diner at midnight, maintaining professional distance, using parked cars and shadows as cover. Textbook surveillance. He'd learned from the best. She walked 3 blocks before stopping abruptly. "You're getting sloppy." Lucy's voice carried across the empty street. She didn't turn around. Black sedan, 2 cars back. "You traded it for the Mercedes at the intersection. Smart, but you brake differently than your driver." Seok Hoon stepped from the shadows, genuinely impressed. "Most people never notice." "I'm not most people." Now she turned, and her eyes held the same unsettling calm as before. "Seok Hoon. Warehouse district operations. Money laundering through 3 restaurant chains, including Chen's. You're careful, but Booth 7 talks too freely when they drink." His hand moved toward his jacket, slowly, testing. "Don't." It wasn't a plea. "I'm not armed, and I'm not interested in whatever power play you're running. I serve tables. I raise my daughter. That's all." Then why refuse the money? He kept his distance, recalculating everything. Why risk drawing my attention? Because money comes with strings. Lucy's posture shifted subtly, balanced, ready. "And I've spent too long cutting strings to tie new ones." The silence stretched between them. Somewhere distant, a siren wailed. "You have training," Seok Hoon said finally. "Military? Police?" "Something like that." Her smile held no warmth. "And you have a decision to make. Walk away, or explain to your bosses why a diner waitress knows enough to burn your operation to the ground." "You wouldn't." But doubt crept into his voice. "Try me." Lucy took a step forward. "I've survived worse than you, Mr. Seok. So here's how this works. You tell me exactly why you're following me, or I start making very inconvenient phone calls."
Coffee.
Lucy's tone left no room for negotiation. "Public place. Tomorrow, 2 p.m. Chen's is closed for lunch service." Seok Hoon blinked. "You're dictating terms? You followed me. You investigated me. You disrupted my carefully boring life." She crossed her arms. "So yes, I'm dictating terms. You want to know why I'm not afraid of you? Fine. But we do this honestly, or we don't do it at all." The next afternoon, Seok Hoon arrived early. Lucy was already there, 2 cups of coffee cooling on the table between them. She'd chosen the corner booth, back to the wall, clear view of both exits. Professional habits died hard. "No ownership," Lucy said without preamble. "Whatever this conversation is, whatever comes after, you don't own me. Not with money, not with protection, not with favors. Clear?" "Clear." Seok Hoon found himself leaning forward. "But I need to understand." Park Seok Hoon. Born in Busan, moved to the States at 15. MBA from Cornell, Legitimate businessman until your father's organization needed new management. Lucy's voice remained conversational. You launder approximately $40 million annually through restaurant operations. The warehouse district is your secondary income stream. Booth 7 works for your uncle, who's been skimming for months. The blood drained from his face. How? I listen. I observe. I remember. She sipped her coffee. You're not the first dangerous man I've had to survive, Mr. Park. Just the first one who followed up. Something shifted in Seok Hoon's chest, an unfamiliar sensation. Not fear. Recognition. He'd spent 15 years surrounded by people who lied, manipulated, and postured. Lucy James simply was no pretense, no performance. Just brutal, uncomfortable honesty. Who are you? He asked quietly. Before? Someone who made different choices. Her eyes grew distant. Someone who thought loyalty mattered more than survival. I learned better. And now I raise my daughter and stay invisible. She met his gaze. Or I did, until you decided to dig. Seok Hoon felt control slipping through his fingers like water. Everything he'd built required shadows and secrets. Lucy James operated in blinding daylight, daring the world to look closer. I can't let you go, he admitted. You know too much. Then, I guess you're stuck with honesty. Her smile was sharp. Welcome to my rules, Mr. Park. The bullet shattered Seok Hoon's penthouse window at 11 p.m. He dove behind the kitchen island as 3 more shots punched through the glass. Training kicked in low profile, assess exits, identify the shooter. His second-in-command, Min-jun, had positioned himself perfectly. The parking garage. Elevated angle. Professional setup. Seok Hoon's phone buzzed. Lucy, get to the street.
Now.
Make noise. What? Your second betrayed you. Roof access is compromised. Street level. Public witnesses. Move. He didn't question how she knew. Seok Hoon grabbed his phone and ran for the stairwell, taking steps 3 at a time. Behind him, footsteps echoed. Min-jun's men cutting off the elevator route. Lucy was waiting in the lobby, phone already dialing. 911? Active shooter, Harbor View Towers, penthouse level. Victim is exiting the building now. She grabbed Seok Hoon's arm, hauling him through the glass doors into the street. Yes, he's right here. Park Seok Hoon. He needs police protection immediately. Are you insane?
Seok Hoon hissed.
I can't. Survive in the shadows? Too late. Lucy positioned him under the brightest streetlight, surrounded by late-night pedestrians pulling out phones. Smile for the cameras, Mr. Park. You're about to become very, very public. Sirens wailed closer. Lucy kept talking to the dispatcher, providing details no civilian bystander should know: shooter position, likely escape routes, the betrayal structure within his organization. She named names, locations, bank accounts. Stop, Seok Hoon breathed. You're destroying everything. I'm keeping you alive. Her grip tightened. Your empire was already crumbling. Min-jun's been planning this for months. But a dead crime boss? That's just cleanup. A living victim cooperating with authorities? That's messy. Complicated. It buys time. Police cars screeched to a halt. Officers emerged, weapons drawn, shouting commands. Lucy raised her hand slowly, pulling Seok Hoon's up with her. He's the victim. Assassination attempt. Shooter still in the building. As officers surrounded them, Seok Hoon watched his carefully constructed world unravel. Tomorrow, his name would be in every database, every news report. The shadows were burning away, and Lucy James had lit the match. The safe house was excessive: 3 bedrooms, security system, panic room. Seok Hoon had arranged everything within 12 hours. This is unnecessary, Lucy said, watching armed guards patrol outside. Min-jun has connections. Resources. Seok Hoon paced the living room. Until I know who else turned, you and Emma are vulnerable. Because I saved you. Because you exist in my orbit now. He stopped, facing her. I don't cage people, Lucy. But I protect what's mine. I'm not yours. Her voice hardened. We agreed, no ownership. Then consider it professional courtesy. He gestured toward Emma's new bedroom, already stocked with books, art supplies, everything Jean Woo's research had identified. I'm grateful. This is gratitude. Lucy studied the setup, the escape routes he'd preserved, the unlocked doors, the phone with direct lines to authorities. He'd given her safety without prison bars. Rare in her experience. What else aren't you telling me? She asked quietly. Seok Hoon's jaw tightened. Excuse me? The penthouse attack was too coordinated. Min-jun didn't act alone. Lucy moved closer, reading his micro-expressions like text. You knew someone was moving against you. That's why you investigated me so thoroughly. You were looking for connections, leverage points. Who else is involved? It's better if you don't. Transparency, remember? She cut him off. Your rules burned down. We're operating under mine now. So talk. The silence stretched. Outside, a guard changed position. My uncle, Seok Hoon finally admitted. The one skimming money. He's consolidating power, buying loyalty. Min-jun was just the first move. There'll be others. How many in your organization? 30%, maybe more. Lucy absorbed this. And the authorities? How much did I actually expose? Enough to require cooperation. His smile was bitter. You backed me into a corner. Federal protection in exchange for testimony. I'm building the case now. Good. She surprised him. You wanted control, Mr. Park. But control built on lies always collapses. This way, you choose how it falls. You're not afraid, he marveled, of any of this. I told you, I've survived worse. Lucy met his eyes. But I need to know everything. Every threat, every alliance, every secret. Because Emma's in this house too, and I don't leave her vulnerable. Seok Hoon realized he was standing at a precipice. Tell her everything, surrender the last fragments of control, or lose the only person who'd ever demanded his honesty.
There's more, he began.
The federal building's conference room smelled like burnt coffee and desperation. Seok Hoon sat across from 3 prosecutors, laying out 15 years of criminal infrastructure with the precision of a man dismantling his own legacy. Lucy watched from the observation room, Emma coloring quietly beside her. Restaurant chains here, here, and here. Seok Hoon marked locations on the map. Warehouse operations funnel through these LLCs. My uncle controls the eastern distribution. Min-jun managed enforcement until he tried to kill you. Assistant DH and interrupted. We need more than organizational charts, Mr. Park. We need names, dates, transactions. I'm giving you everything. Seok Hoon's voice remained steady, but Lucy caught the tremor in his hands. But you need to move faster. My cooperation won't stay secret long. He was right. By evening, Lucy's phone exploded with alerts. Financial news networks reported sources close to the Park organization confirming federal cooperation. Stock prices for legitimate holdings plummeted. Seok Hoon's business partners issued statements, distancing themselves. Former allies turned predatory, circling the wounded empire like sharks. They're moving assets, Jean Woo reported, still loyal despite everything. Your uncle emptied 3 accounts this morning. The warehouse managers are destroying records. And Min-jun, he hesitated. What about Min-jun? Seok Hoon demanded. He's been communicating with your uncle for 18 months. This wasn't opportunistic. They planned your downfall together, piece by piece. Min-jun was supposed to take over operations after your death. Your uncle gets legitimacy through succession. Min-jun gets the criminal network. Lucy saw Seok Hoon's expression crack, just for a moment. Betrayal from an ambitious lieutenant was expected. But his uncle? The man who'd raised him after his father died? How deep? Seok Hoon asked quietly. 70% of your organization answers to them now. They've been building parallel loyalty structures for over a year. Jean Woo's face was grim. You were already deposed, boss. You just didn't know it. The room went silent. Outside, the city glittered with lights, thousands of lives untouched by the empire crumbling in this safe house. Then we burn it all, Seok Hoon said finally. Every account, every operation, every person involved. If I'm going down, they're coming with me. Lucy touched his shoulder. That'll make you a primary target. I'm already dead, he replied. This just chooses how I fall. The news broke at dawn. Federal witness Park Seok Hoon provides testimony in major organized crime investigation. Seok Hoon's phone died within minutes. Calls, threats, messages from people he'd once called friends. The federal protection detail doubled, then tripled. Prosecutors moved them to a new safe house every 48 hours. But power, once lost, couldn't be restored with guards and protocols. Lucy watched it happen in real time. Business associates stopped returning calls. The legitimate companies bearing his name restructured, erasing his involvement. Bank accounts froze as federal seizures began. The penthouse, the cars, the infrastructure of wealth, all gone. Most devastating was the silence from his uncle. No threats. No contact. Just a statement through lawyers. The Park family disavows any connection to these alleged criminal activities. We are cooperating fully with authorities. Erasure. Clean and complete. You should leave, Seok Hoon told Lucy on the third night in the new safe house. They sat in a generic kitchen, Emma asleep down the hall. There's no benefit to staying anymore. No protection I can offer. No resources, nothing. Is that what you think I'm here for? Lucy's voice carried an edge. Your protection? Why else? He gestured at himself. Rumpled shirt. 3 days without proper sleep. The man who'd commanded an empire reduced to a federal asset. I have nothing left. You have honesty. Lucy poured coffee, her movements deliberate. For the first time since I met you, you're not performing. No power plays, no calculated moves. Just you. The me that's going to get us both killed. Seok Hoon's phone buzzed. Another blocked number, another threat. My uncle's people are hunting witnesses. Min Jun's still missing. The trial's 6 months away, and I won't survive 6 weeks. Then we survive together. Lucy met his eyes. I told you I've faced worse. Not like this. Exactly like this. Her smile was sad. You're just catching up. Outside, a car slowed near the safe house. Both of them tensed, hands moving toward weapons that federal protection had confiscated. The car drove on. Last chance, Seok Hoon said quietly. Walk away. Lucy's answer was standing up, checking the locks, settling in for another night of survival. She'd already made her choice. The trial lasted 8 weeks. Seok Hoon testified for 12 days straight, dismantling the criminal network he'd built and inherited. His uncle sat in the defendant's gallery, face impassive. Min Jun had vanished, probably dead, probably silenced. The verdicts came down like hammering nails. Guilty, guilty, guilty. Seok Hoon walked out of the courthouse into bright October sunshine, everything he'd owned seized or redistributed, his family name synonymous with betrayal and cooperation. Federal protection ended with a trial. He was nobody now, legally, financially, socially erased. Lucy was waiting on the courthouse steps, Emma beside her. Witness protection offered you new identities, Seok Hoon said. He'd read the paperwork, knew the options. Different city, different names, clean slate. We declined. Lucy adjusted Emma's backpack. We're staying. There's nothing here for you. He gestured helplessly. I have a studio apartment in Queens, a job washing dishes at a restaurant that doesn't ask questions, and approximately 30 enemies who'd love to find me. That's my life now. Sounds familiar. Lucy's smile was genuine. I've been living that life for years. It's not so bad. You deserve better. I deserve honest. She stepped closer. You know what I realized, watching you testify? You could have lied. Cut deals, protected assets, kept some fragment of your empire. But you didn't. You chose truth over power. That's rare. Emma tugged her mother's sleeve. Is Mr. Park coming to dinner? That depends. Lucy looked at him. We've got a 2-bedroom in Riverside. Nothing fancy, but it's clean. Rent's reasonable if we split it. Emma needs help with math homework, and I could use someone to cover evening shifts occasionally. Seok Hoon stared. You're offering me a choice. Lucy cut him off. The man who followed me from the diner? I would have walked away from him. The empire builder, the crime lord, the person performing power? Him too. But the man standing here right now, with nothing but honesty and a willingness to face consequences? Him I choose. I don't understand. You're finally human, Seok Hoon. She took his hand. Vulnerable, uncertain, real. That's who I want around my daughter. That's who I trust. The federal agents were pulling away, protection detail officially concluded. Somewhere in the city, old enemies were planning, calculating, hunting. But Lucy James had survived worse. And now, for the first time in 15 years, so had he. Dinner sounds good, Seok Hoon said quietly. Emma grabbed his other hand. Together, the three of them walked down the courthouse steps into an uncertain future. No power, no protection, no empire. Just honesty and the choice to survive together.